Hi, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. Thanks for being here. I hope wherever you are that you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. On today's video, I've got an epic max cushion shoe battle for you. It's the newly released Asics Gel Nimbus 24 going up against the Hoka Bondi 7.
I'm staring through your window, looking up at the stars, up at the stars. I'm caught inside a loop where I can get to your heart, get to your heart. Ooh.
Now, both of these are considered to be max cushion daily trainers that cost the same, they weigh about the same, so how do you know which one to buy? Well, that's the question that we're going to try to answer today. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to be putting the Asics Gel Nimbus 24 up against the Hoka Bondi 7 in a head-to-head competition, and I will pick a winner at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around.
Take control and it's making me crazy. If you could only look at me, you know how I feel, know how I feel. Oh, see how much I want it, see how bad I need it. You gotta look into my eyes. That's how much I want it, that's how bad I need it. You've gotta look into my eyes. Think twice before you let me go. My eyes are mirrors of my soul. See how much I want it, see how bad I need it. You gotta look into my eyes. Look into, look into, look into, look into, look into, look into, look into my eyes. Look into, look into, look into, look into, look into, look into, look into my eyes. I'm dancing on the tables, trying my best to forget, best to forget. Ooh.
Now, both of these are neutral road shoes that I ordered true to size, and they both fit me perfectly. They each cost $160 US. Oh, and I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to join the Run Tall family. Now, I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly, but I also like to post other videos about running as well. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos related to running, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you'll be notified each time to upload new content. Now, both of these shoes are gender specific, meaning that there's slight differences between the men's and women's version. For the Asics Gel Nimbus 24 for a US men's size 9, on my scales, they came in at 10.2 ounces or 290 grams, while the women's size 8, now they came in at 8.7 ounces or 247 grams. Now for the Hoka Bondi 7, for US men's size 9 on my scales, they came in at the same weight, 10.2 ounces or 290 grams. But there was a slight difference in the women's version, and that's for a women's size 8. Now they came in at 8.9 ounces or 252 grams. So just a little bit heavier. Oh, and this video is not intended to be a full review of either shoe, but if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below to reviews that I've completed for each one previously. So far, we've talked about the similarities. Cost the same, weigh the same, they both have gender-specific models. But that's really about where the commonality ends. So let's talk about some of those differences, and we're going to begin with the midsole. Starting with the Asics Gel Nimbus 24. Now it has a little bit less of a stack height, so they're not as tall. In the men's version, they have 26 millimeters in the heel and 16 millimeters in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter offset. And as you know, they're gender specific. So in the women's version, they actually have a little more stack height with the women's. They have 28 millimeters in the heel and 15 millimeters in the forefoot. And they're a little steeper in terms of the offset at 13 millimeters. Now this midsole is comprised of 4 different components, and it has a top layer which is a little bit more firm foam that features 3D space construction technology. And what that means is that it's formed in such a way that as you strike the ground and move through your gait cycle, that you're going to both compress and rebound more specifically to your foot strike and your foot shape as you move through to make it just a little bit more of a custom fit or feel for you. And then beneath that, they've got some gel in the heel and gel up in the forefoot. Now the gel is there to help disperse your impact, not so much to add comfort to your ride experience or your run experience, but rather to absorb the foot strike impact as you move through your gait. And then they have a bottom layer of foam. Now here they're using their Flight Foam Blast Plus material, which is an updated version of their Flight Foam Blast material that We know from the Novablast 1 and the Novablast 2, this is a little bit softer and has a little bit more energy return, or just a little bit more lively. And then the fourth component within this midsole is a trussic system. Now this is basically located more towards the midsection of the shoe. It's designed to give your shoe a little bit more stability, so it reduces that twisting motion, just to make you feel a little bit more stable as you move through your gait. Now on the Hoka Bondi 7, they have a taller stack height, so they have more midsole foam underfoot. In the men's version, they have 33 millimeters in the heel and 29 millimeters up in the forefoot. In the women's version, now they reduced that a little bit. They have 31 millimeters in the heel and 27 millimeters in the forefoot. So that's a noticeable difference, both in the stack height and in the offset. Both in the men's and women's version of the Hoka Bondi 7, they have just a 4 millimeter offset, so much less steep than the men's version of the Gel Nimbus 24 or the women's version of the Gel Nimbus 24 as well. And they went in the opposite direction. Asics added a little midsole foam to the women's version, while Hoka has taken it away. Now the Bondi 7, unlike the Nimbus 24, has just a one-piece midsole construction. And here they're using their compressed EVA foam from the heel to the toe, so there are no other component parts to it like we just saw in the Nimbus 24. Now oftentimes a taller stack height means a much more plush or cushioned ride. However, that's simply not the case here. With the Bondi 7, even though they have all this extra foam underfoot, it's much more dense feeling to run in. Now they still do feel smooth to run in. I've always enjoyed that aspect of it. They have a nice, pretty aggressive heel bevel back here. They do have that early stage meta rocker, so as you strike the ground and move through your gait, you move pretty smoothly through it. But the compressed EVA foam that they're using is a much more dense feeling. So even though these are considered to be a max cushion daily trainer, they aren't as plush or cushioned as what I found in the Gel Nimbus 24. And that's one of the things I wanted to know. When I was comparing these two, or preparing for this video, I ran in these shoes back to back. So I put a couple of miles in on the Hoka Bondi 7, and then right away I switched up shoes and put another couple of miles in the Nimbus 24. That way I could tell right away some stark differences. I mean, they just kind of jump right out at you when you do that. And with the Gel Nimbus 24, even though these weigh the same, they feel a lot lighter on foot, and there's just a ton more energy return. But probably the biggest difference for me is these feel just much more natural to run in. They're not nearly as stiff, and I think because the Flight Foam Blast Plus midsole foam that they're using on that bottom layer has just a lot more energy return. They are more lively. My legs do feel fresher at the end of a run in the Gel Nimbus 24 than they do in the Hoka Bondi 7. So let's flip these over and we'll take a look at the outsole. So they're protecting all that soft midsole foam that we just looked at. And here, I think it's pretty much a tie. You know, I don't think that either shoe is going to outlast the other one. I think both companies did a good job in protecting all that soft midsole foam that we just looked at. The biggest difference here, I think, is just in the width of that outsole. The Hoka Bondi 7 is a noticeably wider shoe. It's a wider platform to land on from the forefoot all the way midsection through to the heel. It's just a wider shoe across the board. Oftentimes when you have a big wide platform to land on like that, you do get a more stable ride or stable feeling when you're running. But I didn't notice a big difference in the stability between either of these shoes. So let's talk about the fit and the feel of the uppers. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that both of these shoes are really comfortable on foot. I think they did a good job with the uppers on each of them, but they go about it differently. With the Asics Gel Nimbus 24, they're using a jacquard mesh material. Now this is cloth-like, much more cloth-like. It's very soft to the touch. It has a bit of stretch to it. There's perforations up in the toe box, plenty of room to be able to display your toes. Those perforations pretty much just stop at the base of the eyelet chain here. Not much else going on along the midsection of the shoe. Of course, you can see their Asics logo as a plastic overlay. As we work our way around to the heel counter, we give that a little bit of a pinch test here. You're going to see that there's lots of structure back in the heel. Now we compare that with the Hoka Bondi 7. Now here they're using an engineered mesh material, so you can basically see through that outer layer. You can kind of see that green underneath. So that green that you see, that's an inner lining, and then the outside is the mesh. Now it's not a jacquard mesh. This is more of a plastic type feel to it. There really isn't as much stretch as what we just saw in the Nimbus 24, so you don't really get that same form fit feeling. Doesn't mean it isn't comfortable, it is, but it's just not form fitting. And up around the toe box, you can see it has lots of plastic there to give it some structure as well as some durability. So a little bit different in terms of how they went around constructing the upper. They do have their Hoka logo across the midsection of the shoe, and they do have those perforations that seem to go a little bit further back than what we saw on an Asics Gel Nimbus 24. And then as long as we got it up on my shoulder here, I'll give this a pinch test as well. I would say they're pretty equivalent in terms of the amount of structure that's built into the heel. Another big difference on the upper is the construction of the tongue. With the Asics Gel Nimbus 24, now here they have a knit upper with a full gusset. It's a thinner material. I think what really sets it apart is the amount of stretch that's in that tongue. So it's very much a form-fit feel to it. I found it to be really comfortable, and even though it is thin, I didn't feel the laces cutting across the top of my midfoot at all, so still very comfortable. With the Hoka Bondi 7, now here we have a much thicker tongue, so it's got lots of padding there. It's not a gusseted tongue, but I didn't have any issues with it migrating around at all. Both I found to be really comfortable. They just went about it very differently. Now both of these shoes have plenty of padding around the heel collar and the tab of the shoe. You can see that here with the Gel Nimbus 24. As we look at the Hoka Bondi 7, now here they're using memory foam, but I'd say it's just about the same amount of padding around the heel collar and the tab as what we just saw in the Nimbus 24. With the Hoka Bondi 7, it has a very traditional heel counter with a pull tab. We have a similar heel counter on the Asics Gel Nimbus 24, kind of that traditional style, but there is no pull tab to help you get these shoes on, but I didn't have any issues with that at all. So overall, both of these Max Cushion Daily Trainers are really comfortable on foot. They both have terrific fitting uppers and soft, well-cushioned midsoles, and each of them are capable of going the distance. But for me, in this head-to-head battle, there was a clear winner, and that's the Asics Gel Nimbus 24. Now, even though these shoes weigh 10.2 ounces, they feel much lighter on foot. That Flight Foam Blast Plus midsole material, I feel like is just giving me a lot more back as I move through my gait cycle. They feel a little more lively with a lot more energy return, and they feel really natural to run in. Plus, I do prefer the form fit of the upper. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.
Staring through your window, looking up at the stars, up at the stars. I'm caught inside a loop where I can get to your heart, get to your heart.